And so, let me get one of these. So, while this soundtrack is playing, everybody will be planning their actions on these little boards here. You can see this has 1 through 7, there's also one for 8 through 12 for each color. Now you can see there's 4 colors of crew member. So, as this mission is going on, we'll be playing these little cards here. Let me grab one. I almost died there, actually. Sad but true. Moving around in the dark is not as easy as it sounds. So, basically you have these cards here. And each card is double-sided. One side has a movement, one side has a button. And if you look carefully, you probably can't see this from where you are. I'm speaking to the disembodied, sort of eye of the camera. But each section of the ship has an A, B, and C button. And these are actual, oversized buttons, color-coded with A, B, and C. Because, trust me, during a mission you're going to be thankful that you have a giant oversized button to hit with all of your might. So A buttons will always fire guns. And there's a gun on every section of the ship. B buttons, let's find a B button here. B buttons will deal with energy, either transferring energy from one of these reactors on the bottom level of the ship to the shields on the top level of the ship, or transferring energy between the reactors on the bottom level of the ship. And I lost one of my fuel rods here, but I'll find it before the mission starts. And finally, the C button does something different in every sector. It could activate battle bots, which are used to combat internal threats. It could activate the interceptors, which have a very short range, but they can fire whatever is closest to the ship, no matter where it is. It could jiggle the mouse on the computer, because the computer has a very expensive, very elaborate screensaver built into it. And if the screensaver ever comes on, it's so elaborate that it drains power from the rest of the ship. So all of the lights go out, sort of like what's going on now, and all of the crew members are stumbling around in the dark. And what happens is, as we play this mission, we might be saying, okay, I am going to play this card for T+1 and move toward the red zone. Then I'm going to play this card on T+2 and move down. And then I'm going to play this card on T+3 and hit the B button, which by that point you'd be down here because everybody starts at the bridge. And we're planning all of this while the soundtrack is going on. And then when the soundtrack ends, we pause, we reset the board to its beginning state, and you're sort of like watching the tape from the black box. It's recovered from the ashes of the ship, most likely. Seeing what actually happened. And inevitably something will have gone wrong, where, for instance, 2 people could have been trying to use the same hyperlift, gravel lift I think they're called, basically the same elevator at the same time. Well, obviously the same elevator can't be going in 2 places at the same time. So what happens is the higher ranking person will get to use it. The lower ranking person will have to use the service elevator, which is slower, which means that all of that person's actions get delayed. So you'll have all of these cards, played out on this board here, and let's just say that this action got delayed. You were supposed to do it on T+4, but because you got delayed, either because the power went out because somebody forgot to jiggle the mouse, or you bumped into another crew member, or whatever happened, you got delayed, and everything scoots over 1. And this game really relies on being able to coordinate your actions with the other players, or in this case, me being able to coordinate 4 people's actions simultaneously in the same time frame it's supposed to take for 4 people to be doing it together. So I don't have a very easy job either. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, you really need to coordinate your actions because you have these threat cards. And let me just show you some of them. I picked out some threat cards special for this mission because I figured might as well show you the best of what the game has to offer. So see, these are some of the more interesting threat cards. A lot of the threat cards are things like, let me show you one of these trajectory boards. So the trajectory, all the threats start at the end, and they move forward whatever their speed is. And when they hit the X section on the trajectory, they execute their X action. When they hit the Y section, they execute their Y action. When they hit the Z section, they execute their final action, and then they warp out of there. So at that point, you don't have any more chances to destroy them, but you will have survived the threat. Unless you didn't. All of the trajectories are different. So for instance, this one is super short, but it doesn't have a Y action. So it just goes X, Z. This one is super long, so it has X, 2 Ys, and a Z. And that's important because all of these threats, we basically don't want them to be executing their actions. Now, a lot of the threats are things like on the X action, it deals 2 damage to whatever zone of the ship it's on. On the Y action, it deals 3 damage, etc. But I picked out some of the more interesting ones. So here they are. Everything is split into serious and normal threats, and there's both internal and external threats. So internal threats are things like, let's see here. Let me see if I can get behind the camera here so make sure you're able to see it.